What's up, world? Welcome back to another episode of Just Grow It, the podcast. I'm your host, Timothy Hammond, the Big City Gardener. And today we're talking about some things you can be doing in your garden in the month of May to ensure that you continue to have a productive gardening season. These are your May garden chores. Let's get to it. The first thing, plant summer blooming perennials and annuals in your garden. Look, now that it's getting hot outside, it's time to get the last of our plants into the garden so that they're able to establish their roots before it gets entirely too hot to grow anything. Number 2, plant warm season vegetables in your garden. I'm talking about okra, cucumbers, basil, sweet potatoes, peppers, anything like that. This is one of the last months that you're going to have the opportunity to add more variety into your garden. When we get into June and July, there's not really much that you're going to be able to plant. So May is one of the last months where you can add some diversity to your garden. Number 3, make sure your bird feeders and your bird baths are full at all times. Look, man, it's not just hot for us, it's hot for the pollinators and the birds as well. And the birds, they're still continuing their spring migration. So we want to make sure that we are helping out our garden friends by making sure they have food and water available throughout the month. That reminds me, I need to fill my bird feeders today. Number 4, if you still have turf grass, then you need to be applying compost to your turf grass this month. Look, things like compost help our turf grass establish deeper, stronger roots. With those deeper, stronger roots, they're able to withstand this summer heat. Make sure you're applying compost, and you could even foliar feed with something like molasses if you wanted to. Just make sure that you apply the molasses foliarly at the right time of day. You don't want to apply it at the middle of the day when the sun is hot because you could burn your grass. Number 5, you need to make sure that you're checking your garden consistently. Now, you don't have to go out there multiple times a day unless you just love being in your garden as much as I do, but you want to make sure that we are checking for pests every time we're out in the garden. Look, summertime, it gets hot and you'll start to notice a lot of pests, even things like the squash vine borer starting to appear in your garden. So I want to help make sure that everybody here is proactive as opposed to reactive. Rather than waiting for pest problems to appear, we can start applying things like neem oil or compost teas to our garden weekly or bi-weekly. This can help keep pests and diseases at bay. Here's a tip. If you're looking for garden pests in your garden, I recommend searching early in the morning or late in the evening. Just like us, they usually try to avoid being active in the middle of the day when the sun is high and it's extremely hot. Number 6, make sure you keep your newly planted shrubs, trees, or lawn watered properly. And that means we need to make sure that we are deep watering our plants. Deep watering is the process where you slowly apply water to all of the soil around your plants. Since the water is being applied slowly, it is able to work its way down deeper into the soil. Deep watering encourages plants to send their roots downward. And once we can get a plant to send its roots downward, that means that the plant is able to search for moisture deeper in the ground. So by deeply watering our plants, we're actually encouraging our plants to develop a deeper, more robust root system. And if you don't know, everything starts with the root system. Finally, number 7, May is a great time to start applying fertilizer to your garden. Now, this fertilizer needs to be an organic, slow-release fertilizer, but if you haven't fertilized yet, now is a great time. I like to fertilize when I first see flowers appear on my plants, and that's usually around the end of April or early May. Now that it's getting hotter outside, we need to make sure that we are diligent with our garden chores. It's extremely easy to start becoming lazier or get burnt out in the gardening season. Look, I know once it gets really hot outside, sometimes I'm just not as motivated to get out there. But this list of things to do will help keep you on track and help your garden look amazing throughout the hottest and, in my opinion, the hardest time to grow in the year. And that's it for this episode of Just Grow It, the podcast. Now, you know I can't let you go without asking one thing of you. That is, please leave me a 5-star rating or a good review. I don't know if you guys realize how much that actually helps. I have a goal, and that is to turn Just Grow It, the podcast into a top 10 gardening podcast, and I can only do that with your help. So please share this episode with as many gardeners and non-gardeners that you know. And that's it. Now, head on out to your favorite gardening center and don't forget your headphones. Turn on Just Grow It, the podcast while you browse and look at all different perennials or annuals that you can add to your garden. And don't forget, just grow it.